maintenance schedule, like especially on the older lines like the east-west and the north-south? For example, what do you check for? Because we want to find out, why were these problems not detected during the maintenance?
For this particular checking for the third rail, we have walkers, what you call patrolmen, walk through the system, and every system are being checked at least once a week. And we check on the alignment. We check. For the train side, every 3 weeks we check the alignment of the shoe system, so that we ensure that there's a good match between the third rail and the shoe, current corrector shoe.
Where was that checked?
This was checked on the 11th, only this month on the 11th of this month. Yeah.
So can we establish that it's an alignment problem? You just don't know which was misaligned with which.
Okay. It has to be an alignment problem. We have to see which are the ones.
So what are the plausible causes that SMRT are looking at?
We have to investigate. We are carry out investigate. We do a lot of simulation, right? And vibration and all sorts. We will do all the. At this point, I can't really say that what is the possible cause.
Why is the backup system failed?
What backup system?
The backup system when the power has been shut off. Is there any backup system to back it up?
Yes. The train are being backed up by 45 minutes of UPS.
Because people complain of being breathlessness, dark, there's no lights.
Maybe Chikon answer that.
Yeah. Okay, when the train breaks down or when the power is cut, there is a UPS, uninterrupted power supply that's supposed to turn on. But when it turns on, what you have is emergency lighting and also ventilation. But the ventilation is not air conditioning, so it's different. And you should last for about 45 minutes. But at the point in time, we have to be aware that it was very crowded. So when you're a very crowded train, the ventilation for some people did not feel it. Okay, but we do understand that some commuters complained that it was very dark. So we're investigating to find out what happened to that particular train, but the lights were not there. Okay.
Speaking of emergency preparedness, right, is there like a standard operating procedure for evacuation? Because like passengers said, they were stuck in the train for 40 minutes. What was the train operator or the driver prepared or trained to handle such situations?
Yeah, I think Wai Ming, you are in charge of the train operations and station. He will explain what took so long and why it took so long. You, I think, explain that.
Yesterday's incident was very unfortunate because of the complexity of the situations. Many trains were stuck at the same time. And because the track was damaged, the third rail was damaged, we have to find a way to bring the trains into the system, good trains in the system to haul out the damaged trains. This process, taking note, is over a long area. So we have to carefully make sure which train we can pull out safely. In this process, that's why it takes a bit longer time. We have SOPs. The SOP actually kicks in yesterday, and based on SOP, we executed it. We took out our draw plans, and immediately all the people came in and run as we planned to do. Although I must admit, it was a bit unfortunate that it happened in such a speed.
So there was sort of a lack of coordination between the SMRT and the staff. Like there were reports of commuters saying that the driver did not explain clearly to them what happened. So can I just find out, was there a lack of coordination, like with the staff trained for this kind of prepared scenario?
I think money.
Yes, we put our staff to very stringent training on all the different scenarios. But as we mentioned earlier, this is the first time we have a situation that's so complex. We have to use very different method of approach. So our drawing plan throughout will actually takes longer than usual to execute. Our train officers do indeed try to make announcement, but at the same time, we also have to find ways to do the fault rectification at the same time.
But I think notwithstanding the fact that it was a complex issue, I think a lot of commuters said that there wasn't any incident at all, and when there was, it was just something being heard from recorded messages. I mean, surely your train drivers are trained to, give reassuring messages, tell them there's been a fault, please don't worry, this is what you need to do, and then you probably don't have people smashing train windows and, just all their way through. So why was there no personal communication between your train drivers and the people who were stuck in the trains at the first level and also outside? I think people who were coming in were not quite sure what's happening. We were told that your signs were not very good and they were not very clear.
I think as Pekwa said just now, she will certainly look into this so that our information management and also crowd control management can be better done. See, when a situation like this happens, what happens is that as far as possible, we try not to detrain people. Mm-hmm. So as long as the third rail, the power is on, if we are able to move the train to the next station, then we try to move the train to the next station. So for Wai Ming, who is in charge of rail operations, he has to determine what is possible to do. That means it's better not to detrain people in the middle of, just before the station. It's better to move them there. Okay? So he has to decide, and then yesterday he said it's complex because it happened to several trains at the same time. There were 4 trains that were really damaged, so he had to consider which one were possible and to move them. And after he had decided on that, before we detrain people, we have to shut off the power. Okay? We have to shut off the power. So during that period of time, he had to try to understand what exactly can be done, then move those trains, we train the people at the station so that it's less inconvenient for them. And then we ultimately, as you know, we had to detrain some people inside the tunnel. That one was before Dhoby got. But in order to do that, it means that we had to move the other trains away already and then shut off the power before we can detrain people inside the tunnel for safety reasons.
Is lack of manpower a possible reason for the not timely enough response, be it on the technical side or on the service front? Will SMRT be looking to, say, increasing manpower in coming months to tackle the overall
No.
It's lack of manpower.
In fact, yesterday we attended to the fault of this. This is a major one. I mean, we have the third rail 40 meters to be reinstalled and the train. And we went in around 7 o'clock. In fact, we completed the restoration by 9 o'clock. However, I mean, because of the extensive problem, you have trains stuck in so many areas. So we have to do what you call line clear. That means we have to get our staff to walk from one station to another station to make sure that this third rail does not be affected by those trains that is having their shoe ripped off. So our response is very fast. However, the process of really clearing, having safety are not being compromised, that really takes a long time.
We activated more than 300 people. Yeah. So there were more than 300 staff who were not working at the time, who were activated, and they went down to the stations to assist in different areas. But it was peak hour. And then we're talking about long stretch. Yeah. And the stations that were involved are all the town, city centre stations, and they're very, very congested.
Talk about the standard operating procedures. Could you give us a specific, how many staff were supposed to station, outside the MRT, or how many staff were supposed to go down to the tunnel, to how many staff, what were they supposed to do? Any specifics to that?
We do have some specific. We have every station is depending on the size of the station. We have a station manager and 3 or 2 staff with them permanently there. Once we activate our SOPs, we bring our CST, customer service team in to augment whatever is on the ground. But as you understand, the number of crowds coming in is a tremendous amount of people. We have difficulty definitely to try to get everybody up in time. Also, we must also understand that some of the passengers still want to remain in the stations. So this actually makes things very complicated, but we understand why, because we hope that service will be resumed soon and they can move on. That's why it makes the things a little bit more complex.
And also the focus is on the main interchanges. Interchanges. So for example, if it affects Bishan, we'll send more staff to Bishan. And it's complex. It's complex because at Bishan, for example, there is a circle line. The circle line is still operating. And not forgetting that when the trains move, although the northbound is not available, not in use, but the southbound was still moving. So when people go into the station, you have to determine who is going. It's quite impossible to determine who is taking the southbound and who is going to northbound, and who is going to the circle line. And people will come up from the circle line, for example, when they come up from the circle line, whether they're going for the southbound or they're going for northbound. So it's only expected that there will be some chaos, but obviously, as far as possible, we'll try to improve these areas. Okay.